On today's show,
who's ready for another round of the NBA's best rivalry? We'll get you ready for tonight's Clippers-Warriors action.
In Crossfire, we debate the best rookies so far and whether there's truth to the KD to DC rumor.
And why does Kevin Love look like a 70s tennis pro?
It's Wednesday, November 4th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, Sweet World, and welcome to The Starters. Whether you're listening to the podcast or watching us on NBA TV or YouTube, we're happy to have you. I'm Jay Skeets, alongside me, as always, Tass Mellis.
Hey, good luck, everyone.
Good luck to Tass's right, to my right as well. International Man of Mystery, Lee Ellis.
Friends.
Lily. And last but certainly not least, catching a cool wave as he rides the internet. Surfs the internet is what I meant. Trey Kirby. Hey, yo! TK, what are you polling the Starters fans out there today on?
Well, if you were on the internet at all last night like I was, riding it, you know, you saw Spencer Dinwiddie sneaking a snack on the bench. So we want you to tell us at #TheStarters what he was eating. What kind of candy bar is that? Maybe it's a protein bar. Maybe it's a meatloaf that's very, very small. Whatever it is, just let us know and we'll put up the best answers eventually. #TheStarters.
Tiny meatloaf. Tiny meatloaf! All right, yeah, #TheStarters. Be specific. What was Dinwiddie eating? All right, we got lots to get to on tonight. We actually got the return of Crossfire. Tass and I will go one-on-one. But first, 10 games on tonight, 2 already tipping underway, and more importantly, we have 3 teams still left in the league, all undefeated, and they're all in action. The Clippers, Warriors, and Raptors, all of them 4-0. We'll get to the Raptors in a second, but the big one tonight, the game that everyone's already talking about, it's the Clips and the Warriors. Guys, this rivalry between these two teams, it seems to heat up each passing season, each passing game. It gets better and better. There's more trash talk. Even in the preseason, they're going at it. How excited are you for this game?
Yeah, and throw in a Lance Stevenson, Josh Smith, and Paul Pierce into the mix.
Yeah.
I think this is going to get even a little bit more heat. I think Paul Pierce will wait till maybe they get a win over the Warriors before he starts talking.
He won't. He'll be talking already.
No, I think he's going to hit one game winner, or maybe at halftime. Who knows? Yeah. But we've talked about the Warriors enough already.
Right.
We'll talk about them getting to 70 wins as a possibility, which is crazy. But let's appreciate what the Clippers have done so far at their 4-0 mark. And it starts to me, obviously, with their big 3. We know that with Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. I feel like they're almost underappreciated at this point because we just kind of think that they're going to do it night in and night out, especially Blake from that power forward position and what he does. He's just so special. But for them to get a conference win, or get to the conference finals, I should say, it's really going to depend on the bench. The role players really have to produce and execute and support those guys. And that's where this journey starts right now. Doc Rivers said this might be the last year that this big 3 will be together because they've been together 5 years, and you just have a championship window. How long can this team go together without winning?
And that bench you mentioned, they didn't have last year in the playoffs, and it really cost them. And now, Doc Rivers must be so happy that even though Paul Pierce isn't the same player he was when he was there together in Boston, he's still a player who can deliver at the clutch, and that's what the Clippers really need. But Blake Griffin, he started off this season fantastically well. We're talking a lot about Steph Curry because he's been filling up the highlight reels, but Blake Griffin has quietly been putting together a very, very solid first. That's only 4 games, but we know that this stage of his career, this is when he really needs to put his stamp on the league.
And I love how Chris Paul is still giving it to DeAndre Jordan. Already 4 games in, he's still up in his ear.
He's not going to change.
No, it's great to watch.
In the preseason, correct me if I'm wrong, you picked the Clippers as the quote-unquote best bench. You thought heading into the season, a lot of new pieces, a deep bench, Have you been impressed through 4 games, what you've seen from the second unit with Clips?
Yes and no. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. They go really, really small with Josh Smith at the 5. What a change it's been for him. Last year, he's a starting small forward at this time. Now he's the backup 5. But Lance Stevenson is in the starting lineup, which is a surprise for me, as an extra ball handler when Chris Paul gets stopped. And it's worked out extremely well. 15, 18 minutes, it doesn't matter. He's okay with that, which you wouldn't think Lance Stevenson would be okay with. Then you go to the bench, and sometimes they're a little too small. Doc Rivers doesn't get the performance out of the bench and the starting lineups on the same night. At times, he's kind of throwing his hands up. And they haven't beat a lot of great teams, let's be honest. They beat the Kings a couple times. They've beaten Dallas, they've beaten Phoenix, and that's it. So yeah, they have a deep bench, but it is a work in progress. Not to feed the company line here, or just feed that cliche, but that's how it is. They're not great every night, but I do like how they are working together at this point, and they're not infighting in any way.
What do you think, Lee, makes this Clippers-Warriors battle such a great rivalry?
Well, Tass kind of alluded to it off the start. It doesn't matter that the coaches have changed, that the players have changed. The last 4 or 5 years, these two teams have hated each other. And I don't think it's anything about division rivalry. I think it's just these two teams match up well against each other. They both feel they're better than the other team.
We had a Game 7 series between them not too long ago. Yeah.
And I think that they just really feel that they hate each other so much.
Doesn't every team in the league hate the Clippers?
Well, they do, but they don't play
extent.
them all 4 times like the Golden State Warriors do. And I think that that's the thing. It builds up over time. You have a playoff series. You have Steph Curry doing those moves that we've seen to embarrass Chris Paul, who we know is not only a brilliant player, he's a brilliant defender. And I think the Clippers felt that they were probably going to be able to push around the Golden State Warriors in those early moments, but then the Golden State Warriors have come back and shown that they are the best team. The Golden State Warriors also have that thing, the ring, the bling, that cannot be taken off them, no matter what happens.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's really what gives them the edge in this series now, because even if the Clippers win tonight by 20 points, which is unlikely to happen, but even if they do, it doesn't take away what the Warriors have already achieved.
I don't know if there's an answer to this, but if you're the Clippers heading into this game, the way Steph Curry's been playing through the first 4, putting up some unbelievable numbers, so again, it's historic NBA numbers in terms of scoring and what he's doing offensively, is there a way to slow this guy down? If you're the Clippers heading into this game, is it sort of what we used to talk about Steve Nash in terms of like, do you let him go for his and try and slow down everyone else, or do you take away everyone else and just let him get his? Now, I know Curry is Steve Nash cranked to the max, because that's really what he sort of truly is, being such a better shooter, but he is a playmaker as well. What do you do?
And he's got Steve Nash in his corner as a player development coach there working along with him. I think you obviously get it out of his hands, and that's what the Clippers are going to do going small. They're going to bring Josh Smith up there. They're going to bring DeAndre Jordan, who is an incredibly athletic big. He's quite a large one, but you do what the Cavs did with Tristan Thompson. Get the ball out of his hands.
It's easier said than done when you've got the best handles in the game, probably, in Steph Curry. And also, the most important thing is he's happy to defer to his teammates as well. You see sometimes when a trap comes, he's happy to just lob the ball over to Draymond or to Klay Thompson or whoever, and he's happy to sit back and say, throw 2 defenders at me. I don't want to have to necessarily score 30 points every night.
They had some success slowing Curry at times last year. 2 games, he scored under 15 points or less. Of course, the other 2, he was putting up around 35 or so.
Yeah, you make him work with a bunch of picks, too, for Chris Paul, obviously, on the defensive end, and pray.
But
that's how you stop Steph Curry.
He's so smart that he's not going to run through screens himself anyway. He's not going to risk himself, Steph Curry. He just knows how to use the ball and how to be smart with it.
When will they lose the first game? That's the question.
I don't even care to hear who wins tonight. Will we have a flagrant foul?
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed flagrant foul?
3 is at the line.
Okay. All right, moving on here. So we get to the Raptors a little bit. They are the other undefeated team in the league. Yes, happy belated birthday to the Raptors, by the way. They're going into OKC, though, tonight. After playing last night, they picked up a big win over the Mavericks. Yes, I know the Mavericks aren't the old Dallas Mavericks. They're not your father's Mavericks, but they're still a good team.
And you mean Brian Cardinal?
Yeah. The Raps are shockingly 4-0. What has impressed you most, I guess, about this Raptors team? Is it just going back to defense a little bit?
I think it's Kyle Lowry realizing that he doesn't have to do absolutely everything. Last year was his first year as a star, and he tried to do a little too much, and you saw what happened in the second half. He got gassed. In the playoffs, he wasn't himself. His usage rate is down. DeMar DeRozan's usage rate is down. This is just more of a team.
Yeah.
You got 5 guys who potted 20 points in the first few games. And even if they get close to that 47 win mark, which they got last year, I see them around that mark, this 4-0 start. It's going to slow down. They haven't faced world beaters quite yet either. I still think they're better prepared because they have a more well-rounded team for the postseason, and that includes the defense. Everybody's touching it on offense, and they have a better defensive lineup. They're just more of a well-rounded team, even if they don't get to that 50-win mark.
They got some really good minutes out of Luis Scola last night. He really was able to take advantage of Dirk Nowitzki. Probably won't be the same tonight if he's going up against Serge Ibaka and Steven Adams, but I wonder if Dwayne Casey maybe tries to put him into that second unit where he's facing Enes Kanter, who would be a much more favourable matchup again for Lewis, because last night you mentioned, DeRozan got in foul trouble early, wasn't great. Terrence Ross wasn't great either. They needed someone to step up, and Scola did that in a favourable matchup. So you wonder if tonight, against the Oklahoma City Thunder, we know is one of the championship contenders, maybe Dwayne Casey has to find some other way of trying to get a positive matchup.
As much as I love the Raptors, I think tonight is when skinny Kyle Lowry gets his first loss, because he hasn't lost yet.
Yeah, you tweet that after every game.
I do. I got to keep it going. It's working so far.
It's fun to watch.
But yeah, great games tonight. 10, as I said. Those two, we got 3 undefeated teams. Raptors going into OKC and the late one. I mean, Lee, you better stay up for this one, all right?
I'll be up for this one.
Don't go to bed at half, Lee. We got the Warriors and Clips. Can't wait for that. All right, when we come back, who's the worst team in the league? Talks about some of the better teams. Tass and I will debate that next and a whole lot more when we get into Crossfire. Yeah!
This is Crossfire. Trey will give Skeets and I 3 topics. We'll duke it out, and you at home will declare the winner. Trey, let's lay down the ground rules.
Yeah, 3 rounds, 3 questions, and like Tass said, you guys at home are picking the winner. If you vote hashtag Tass wins, Tass is winning. Hashtag Skeets wins, Skeets is winning. Let's keep it clean. Let's have a good fight out there. Round 1, we're a week into the season, and we've still got 4 winless teams. The Nets, 76ers, Pelicans, and Lakers. So it's a simple question. Who's the worst team in the league? Let's go.
It's the Brooklyn Nets. This team just doesn't have any hope. You look at the other bad teams in the league, your Lakers, your Nuggets, they at least have a young, high draft pick. No disrespect, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, but this Nets team doesn't have any of that. They've gotten worse. They have nothing. They don't even have their own draft pick, and plus they play in the East, so you're not even seeing them play good teams. I actually believe politicians never lied until I heard Bill Clinton at the Nets game the other day say that the Nets are better this year.
I saw that.
Bill, come on. Come on, Bill.
The Nets, I mean, they're bad, but I think the Lakers are probably worse. You look at who the Lakers have played, Taz. They've lost to the Wolves, the Kings, the Mavs, and the Nuggets, who you just got done saying were pretty bad. They've given up an average of 116 points per game. This is how I know they're bad. A Lakers blog, Silver Screen and Roll, had a headline yesterday that said, "This could be the worst Lakers team of all time." And I think it's in play here. I got to go with the Lakers. Their defense is brutal.
All right, round 2. The 2015 draft classes got off to a killer start with game-changing performances from a bunch of players already. So I need you guys to tell me who's been the best rookie so far. Here we go.
All right, I think it is the #1 pick, Karl Anthony Towns, with the Minnesota Timberwolves, because he's doing it on both sides of the basketball. He's giving them a little bit of defense. He's already learning from Kevin Garnett. But look at his averages, 17, nearly 18 points per game,
He's
10
great.
rebounds per game. I mean, he's making NBA history being the first rook to do that, or a teenager to do that in his first 2 games in the season. I've been blown away by this guy. None of us picked him as Rookie of the Year. We had Moutier and Okafor, but Towns has been the best by far.
He's been very good, but I'm going with Jahlil Okafor. He's the only rook averaging 20 points, and he does that on an offense where everything is focused on him. No one else needs to take a shot. He's pounding guys down low. He's pounding guys who just got paid because they played defense down low. He's garnering double teams. You front him, how do we guard this guy? Well, he's out on the perimeter. He can't do that. Yes, he can. He can drive to the rim. He can do it all. I've been very impressed, again, for a guy that doesn't really have a lot of talent around him, unlike Karl Anthony Towns, who's been very impressed.
I think Karl Anthony Towns could already be the best player in the Wolves, though. That's how great he's been. But, you know, Okafor's pretty solid, too.
All right. Round 3, according to CBS's Ken Berger, the Wizards are a legitimate threat to sign Kevin Durant this summer. Do you guys buy this rumor?
Oh, come on. We have got to stop these rumors. Just
They're not going to stop. They're not going to stop.
Let's get a swear jar on our set where we put in $1 every time we talk about these rumors. It's just bogus. I don't find any merit. And listen, he's got a better supporting cast in OKC. Why would he want to leave Russ, Ibaka, KD, and Kanter? That's better than Wall and Beal and Gortat and Porter. That's better. That's where he should stay. And plus, it's just difficult to go home. There's just so much that comes along with going home. Everybody wants tickets. Everybody wants a piece of you. He's not leaving.
Fine. He's got millions of tickets. I do think it's, you know, I think this is, as you said, sort of, am I buying it? Yeah. First off, it's coming from CBS Sports' Ken Berger, reputable source.
Reputable.
It's not coming from Ken Hot Dog. It's coming from Ken Berger. The Wizards also, they did hold off on giving Bradley Beal the contract extension. That's coming into play. They're thinking that can help them try and lure him back. KD's 9th season here with OKC. I know they've had a ton of injuries, but if that happens again, they don't go far in the playoffs. why not? Maybe he's just says time to move on.
All right, break it up. First winner of the year goes to Tassie.
Yes!
Taking home 56% of the vote.
He has a shorter name. He has a shorter name.
Looks like we're probably going to have a rematch.
I thought you were going to take it with that hot dog comment. Everyone loves hot dogs.
Maybe I'll win during the commercial break. Come on back. All right, when we return, let's get into the starters mailbox. We'll talk trade rumors and mustaches. Welcome back to the starters. There he is, LeBron James, getting ready with a little Pilates.
Nice.
For his battle with the Cavaliers against the Knicks tonight. That's the first game of ESPN's doubleheader. Gets underway at 8 p.m. Eastern, so not much longer. Lee, you impressed by this?
Very impressed. He's got a very strong core there.
You do a lot of bar three.
Think you want to go back to wearing a do-rag?
It's cool stuff.
Bringing it back, why not?
All right, we got let's open up the starters mailbox. We haven't done that this season. We've got a couple questions from you guys. Keep the questions coming. Send them in, the starters at NBA.com. Let's get to as many as we can here. First one, hey guys, love the new studio. According to ESPN's Mark Stein, the Memphis Grizzlies have discussed trading for Miami Heat point guard Mario Chalmers. Why? That question, very simple question, coming from Daniel. What do you think?
New studio, new graphics, those are pretty. Yeah. I ask why as well. It sort of makes sense in theory. Mario Chalmers has played off guys where he's the third, fourth, fifth option on championship teams as the starting point guard. Playing off the bigs in Memphis would sort of make sense. He's not afraid to shoot. That's what they need in Memphis. True. That being said, he plays the wrong position. He's going to come off the bench. I mean, there's no way he's going to start in front of Mike Conley. There's no way he's going to start at the 2 spot. Can he? There's no way he's going to end games beside Mike Conley, right? So it's sort of confusing. You got Beno Idri at the backup point guard spot. He's not a wing. They need a wing who can shoot.
Yeah, and to me, this only makes sense if Mario Chalmers does still have his shot. He shot like 36% from 3 his first 6 seasons, but then last year and this year, he is at about 28%. So he's not a guy that really punctures the defense. He's not a guy that's going to get you a ton of assists. But if he's hitting threes, I can see why they would want to have at least a little bit more.
And that's what
around.
We know the Grizzlies do
need.
They need some shooting. Well, you confused by this?
A little bit, because the Grizzlies do seem to really like Beno Udrih as their backup point guard. So again, I'm not sure exactly which position he would fill. But then again, we do sometimes underestimate the fact that Mario has been to the finals 4 times.
Guy's a winner. Won in college.
He is a winner, and he has that experience, which you saw even Norris Cole last year on the Pelicans. He brings a little bit of that experience to the team, and maybe that's what the Grizzlies need just to get over the line. So perhaps they're looking at it for that reason. Perhaps, again, it's just all smoke, and this will never go anywhere.
It does make sense sort of from the Heat side of things. If they could move his contract, they would avoid that repeater luxury tax deal there. They're going to save themselves some money. They seem to like Tyler Johnson. They got also a rookie there, and Josh Richardson at point guard. Yeah, they want to get more minutes, I think, to some of those guys. So
they kind of have been dangling Chalmers a bit as well.
I think as soon as they signed Dragic to a long-term deal, he was probably up for grabs. All right, just a rumor, though. All right, next one here. Hello, starters. Hello. Have you guys seen Kevin Love recently? His mustache is glorious, and we have it up there on the screen. It's pretty good. Got me thinking, what are some of your favorite NBA mustaches of all time? That's from Nikki. First off, Lee, can you say mustache for me?
Mustache.
Oh.
You're taking it.
Usually
Mustache.
There you go. Mustache. All right, so let's run through a few of our favorites. Well, let's start with Kevin Love. This isn't the first time we've seen Love in a mustache.
This was a huge deal on the internet, circa 2K12.
Yeah, that's right. Good look for him. Classic.
Oh, yeah.
James Edwards.
Yeah.
Buddha.
Oh, yeah, look at that bad boy. Kurt Rambis.
Yeah, the Ned Flanders of the 1980s.
Kurt Rambis is funny, though. You immediately think of the glasses.
Yeah.
True. He's got a lot of face stuff going on.
You almost forget the stash there. Recent one, Steven Adams.
Yeah, nice.
You like that?
He's since grown out even more facial hair to accessorize.
He's adding to it. Former Commissioner David Stern. There he is at the 1984 draft.
Oh, Akeem's sporting one.
Too.
Yeah,
double.
Akeem's got one. That was Akeem, I believe. Spencer Hawes. He's done the stash a couple times in variations.
Yeah, looks good both times.
Blake Griffin recently.
Looks like Poirot. You know who he is?
Hercule Poirot?
Hercule Poirot, yeah.
Nice.
JaVale McGee with the finger stash. But our favorites, you're going with Larry Bird, Lee?
Yeah, I'm going with Larry Bird because he pretty much had this from the time he entered the league until probably about 87 or 88 and when he finally got rid of it. But he kind of looked like someone's dad. My dad had a moustache pretty much like that.
Shout out to Dickie, Lee's dad.
I'm going with David Robinson because he never got rid of his stash. On the left is a picture from 1987. On the right is 2015. Exact same mustache.
I'm going with my favorite stash along the same lines, Trey. Former NBA guard Kevin Ollie. Because Kevin Ollie, you can't convince me otherwise, wasn't born with a mustache.
Yeah.
He came out of the womb with a mustache and it looked like that and it's never changed.
I went a little different route because I wanted to plug a great movement called Movember. I'm not sporting the mustache because I'm way too hideous to do that, but I have signed up for the Move Challenge. Do something physical for 30 days.
Look at that
That's
photo.
it. So join me or donate on my page. We will make an everlasting impact on men's health. Together, you'll contribute to research and awareness for prostate cancer, testicular cancer, and poor mental health. mobro.co/TassMellis to donate or just to get more info.
But you're not going to give us the stash?
Come on,
No.
Tassie.
I'm on television.
You could grow one. You could grow one daily. I
More of
think.
a reason.
I couldn't grow one daily.
You
Sure?
could.
This is
We
a
believe
facade.
in you. All right,
This
one
is
more.
drawn in. We have got great makeup artists
We
here
got
at
time.
NBA TV.
He actually doesn't have a beard. They
Thanks,
just
Rachel.
draw it
Liddell,
on.
you guys are great.
All right, final question here before we take a break. Guys, which player from this year's NBA draft do you think got drafted by the wrong team? I say Willie Cauley-Stein with the Sacramento Kings. That's from Abe in Arizona.
I think he's a great fit.
A lot of people were shocked by this pick when they took him,
I was
and they
at
didn't
first,
take
too.
Moutier, or especially a point guard. Of course, they have Rondo now. Do you have someone else in mind, or
No,
what about Willie Cauley-Stein?
I was surprised at first, too. I just didn't think he was going to work with DeMarcus Cousins, but he does very well. He doesn't have an offensive game.
No.
Yet.
To this point,
Yep.
it's limited to within 5 feet of the bucket. They're limiting him to that side, to that part of the floor. You play D, you rebound, and that's what you got to do. And it works well with DeMarcus because he can play out to the three-point line defensively. He doesn't have to shoot. DeMarcus can stay within the sort of the semicircle to play defense. I think it works perfectly.
I think, though, just from what we've seen from Moutier already so far, I think if we'd seen that, teams definitely would have taken him a lot higher because he's a class act already. He's a classy point guard. Even though the turnovers are a little bit high and the field goal percentage is low, we just know that this guy is going to be a good player in a couple of years' time.
That's a good point.
I do agree with that. I think now that you've seen Moutier in the NBA in limited time, but I
Yeah.
think a lot of teams are going, whoa, maybe we shouldn't have passed on this kid. All right,
Forgot
guys.
about that.
Get the emails into us. Keep them coming. The starters at NBA.com. You can hit us up on Facebook, hit us up on Twitter. It doesn't matter. We'll read them. Then we'll maybe talk about them. One more break when we come back. Lily's very solid play of the night. A little bit more fun. You watch the starters. Back to the starters, and the NBA is back honoring our nation's military with the annual Hoops for Troops Week tipping last night. Players and officials, once again, wearing special on-court apparel, including shooting shirts and the stance socks. Through Veterans Day, the league and its teams will work side by side with the military to participate in various service projects across the U.S. to support local communities. Great initiative. Hit up the website, nba.com/cares. You'll find it there. Good stuff. I like those shooting shirts as well. Those
Yeah,
look
they
pretty
look
cool.
nice.
All right, last night's pick-em playoff results. We were picking between the Hawks and the Heat. Two of them had it right. Tass and Lee. Took the Hawks. Ooh, Trey and I incorrect. Tonight, wow, I'm the lone guy taking the Celtics. Everyone else is taking the Pacers. This game, we picked this before the game started, of course. It's underway. What do we got? Close game near the end of the first?
Yeah, Pacers leading 19-14, minute 50 left.
All right, Lee, unfortunately, we have run out of time. No time for your very solid play. We'll put it up on Facebook.
Okay, great.
How about we do
And
that?
we'll be back tomorrow, so join us then.
Thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, your night starts when you want it to.
Brace the night, people.